committed an act of war against the USA, Trump is furious. Venezuela is proof that socialism does not work. The country has now lashed out against the United States as their economy continues to implode. General Motors is halting all operations within Venezuela after authorities from the socialist government suddenly seized their vehicle production facility Thursday. Via CNN Money. General Motors Venezuela, GMV, has been operating in the country for almost 7 decades, and did not accept the sudden takeover. The socialist government issued an embargo on the company and seized cars and other assets across multiple facilities. General Motors has also lost control of its bank accounts held within the socialist country, blocking them from making any further payments to employees or others. The automaker is planning to take every legal action available both inside and out of the country. However, success is unlikely, as the courts are controlled by judges loyal to the socialist government. The seizure of the factory should act as a warning to all businesses operating in socialist regimes. If General Motors focused on building factories within America and hiring American workers, they would not have had this problem. The Venezuelan government has been acting more aggressively towards capitalist enterprises as their economy is melting down. The country has increased the rate that they are nationalizing businesses, as their citizens starve. The absolute failures of the socialist experiment in Venezuela should act as a warning to liberals the world over. Despite having one of the largest oil reserves in the world, the economy of the socialist country has been in sharp decline over the last 3 years. The economy shrank a whopping 18% in 2016. The populace has erupted in mass protests and riots after President Maduro blocked an opposition politician from holding office for 15 years. Maduro continues to consolidate power, increasingly taking on the role of a dictator. At least 9 protesters have been killed. Venezuela is just the most recent proof in a slew of countries who have attempted socialism, destroying their economy, citizens' livelihood, and freedom. Socialism always leads to economic collapse and dictatorial control. Socialism relies on government-sponsored violence to maintain control, and is inherently anti-freedom. What do you think America should do in response? Please share the story on Facebook and tell us what you think because we want to hear your voice. Just in, FBI admits Russia not behind WikiLeaks, launches manhunt for Earth to liberals. Russia is not a hacking empire responsible for every intelligence link in the United States. Not only did Moscow not hack into the 2016 election, but the recent CIA data dumps by WikiLeaks did not come from Putin's regime, either. CBS revealed the news yesterday that both the FBI and the CIA are investigating the source of the leak from within the CIA itself. Whether or not the source is believed to be an independent contractor or an agent has not yet been made public, via CBS. All along, lax security in the US was to blame, not the Russian windmills that Democrats keep swinging at. The idiotic rot of the left's Trump-Russia conspiracy has totally infiltrated the CIA. For not too long ago ex-CIA chief Michael Hayden told CNN's Jake Tapper that WikiLeaks was working on behalf of the Russian government, via The Blaze. Hayden should have known better than to open his mouth without the facts. The CIA has been hit hard recently by the election of Donald Trump. The spy agency is largely responsible for the deep state machinations against Trump. Most of the plotters are Obama loyalists, while others belong to the neoconservative Warhawk industrial complex in Washington, D.C. President Trump and his supporters represent a threat to both of those forces. Despite all of their hardware and their technological resources, the CIA has proven unable to completely keep its secrets secret. In June 2013, Edward Snowden, a contractor who works as a systems analyst for the CIA, broke the news about the NSA's widespread spying on American citizens, via BBC. Could another Snowden be at work in the agency right now? It seems likely. Such a pattern of leaking calls into question the CIA's ability to effectively conduct counterterrorism operations abroad. According to the so-called Vault 7 releases, The CIA only seems proficient at using nominally private technology companies like Apple and Google to spy on Americans at home and at work, via value walk. Many brain-dead leftists and their rhino allies believe that a shadowy cabal of CIA and FBI operatives can bring down the Trump presidency by exposing the president's deep ties to Vladimir Putin and his intelligence services. These clueless talking heads do not seem to recognize that the deep state is nothing more than petty bureaucrats who seem to have a hard time actually doing their jobs. What's the use of leaky spies, anyway? What do you think about this new information about a leaker within the CIA? Share this article on Facebook and let us know what you think because we want to hear your voice. Desperate Copernic reduced to begging for a job, gets best brutal response ever. There's a reason that Copernic has been out of public view for the last few months since his anti-American stunt all last season backfired on him in humiliating fashion. Since the second he decided to take a knee for the national anthem and become the Black Lives Matter poster boy for every single game of the season, his career began to crumble to the point of extinction he's found himself in today. Just when he thought he had taken the last hit to his ego, when not a single team wanted to draft him as a free agent, he just got blindsided by more bad news that he definitely deserved after begging for a job and getting an absolutely brutal response instead. Copernic was reaching a high point in his NFL career when he decided to go low for an entire season and use his public platform to disrespect our country and those who defend it. He didn't think he would pay for it in any way, especially with the support he got from Barack Obama and all of his Black Lives Matter goons. However, now, he's wondering where all of his friends are who once had his back but are now nowhere to be found when he needs them most as an unemployed guy. Nobody wants to risk their own livelihood in hiring for any capacity, as he just learned, in the worst way possible. Citing an anonymous general manager from one of the teams in the NFL's American Football Conference, AFC, told Bleacher Report that Copernic has 3 major points working against him, World News Politics reports. When the free agency first began, Copernic probably just assumed that everyone would have forgotten about his sideline antics. They didn't and definitely don't want anything to do with his anti-American attitude at the huge risk he is to a team's reputation. They aren't just avoiding him because of what he represents and the fact that his playing skill has been on a steep decline, it's also because NFL executives said that they genuinely hate him, according to the Tribunist. It's not just a small few who are avoiding what would inevitably become the Copernic curse, it's the majority. 70% of teams are willing to decline any talent he would bring them next season because genuinely hate him, and can't stand what he did, the report added. They think showing no interest is a form of punishment, the general manager said. According to Bleacher Report. Some teams believe Copernic cannot play at a high level anymore. The fear of backlash is real, especially now more than ever since Americans have an outspoken patriot as president now and not one like Barack Obama who would make excuses for or praise such sickening behavior. Copernic's stance is more unpopular today than ever before, which shows a great sign of a new era we entered into with the swearing-in of Donald Trump. Let's not forget his public statement during his highly paid season. I am not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color, he said. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. That rhetoric worked under Obama, but not under Trump, and America is better off because of it. Not even Black Lives Matter is shouting this anthem anymore because nobody is giving them attention or reparations for it. It's not ironic how all of this rhetoric has slipped into oblivion now that we have a new sheriff in town who doesn't support it. Looks like Copernic just learned an important lesson in patriotism and that the country who supported his sports career doesn't stand by his political statements that had no place in the stadium. Fed up Trump has had enough. Kim Jong-un just got a blunt message not to F with America anymore. In an unprecedented show of unity by Japan, South Korea, China, Great Britain and the United States of America are all taking part in U.S.-led anti-pirate exercises in the Gulf of Aden. The exercises are taking place amid the rising tensions with North Korea, led by its murderous dictator Kim Fatboy Jong. In a truly intimidating show of force, the USS Carter Hall, South Korean destroyer Choyong, British frigate HMS Monmouth and Japanese destroyer Terizuki, were all witnessed taking part in the drills. Via the Daily Mail, South Korea and America have taken part in joint military drills as cooperation between the two allies steps up amid tensions with Kim Jong-un. The USS Carter Hall, a dock landing vessel, and South Korean destroyer Choyong were pictured on maneuvers together in the Gulf of Aden on Friday. They were joined by the British frigate HMS Monmouth and Japanese destroyer Terizuki to take part in the anti-piracy drills. While the exercises did not relate directly to North Korea, cooperation between Western and East Asian allies will be sure to draw the attention of Kim's regime as he squares off with Donald Trump over the country's nuclear program. South Korean Navy Captain Kim Kyung-ril told reporters, the latest joint exercise helped build up trust among the navies of the four countries and beef up their joint operability. Just 6 short months ago, these 5 nations all working together would have been something out of fiction. But as we all know by now, the new American President Donald Trump isn't the same as all the ones that came before him. South Korea, Japan, and Great Britain helping us are no big deal since they have been our allies as far as most can remember these days. But to have China, who was once defending North Korea, is a huge step towards having real and lasting peace. Many must be asking how President Trump was able to get China to actually help and become an ally. And not to mention how they shun North Korea, to the point where they actually sent back a whole shipment of coal. Easy, as President Ronald Reagan coined it, peace through strength. In China's case, that strength is economic. The only reason China is the superpower it is because America buys the goods they produce, which these days are most of what we have available to us to purchase. If the US would slap tariffs on the good, things wouldn't go so well for China, and if we would decide to stop buying what they are selling altogether, it's estimated the China economy would collapse within a week. Talk about a fragile dependency on China's part.